just sounds awful.
Wait.
Mindwalk. Mindwalk.
Tail!
It's nasty out there, dude. It's nasty.
It's raining quite hard. So where are we going right now?
We're going to this castle that I go to when I just want to clear my head and when I want to write stuff. When I just want to clear my head, I go to this place and I just walk around. It's this lovely castle, and I think it'll be good for you. I think you'll have a good time.
Alright, yeah, I mean, it's been pretty tough at work, you know? Everyone either loves you or hates you, but really they hate you as a politician. You know, you try to change this, change that, and nothing really works.
Well, you don't know what it's like being a poet. Everyone hates poets. Everyone hates their work. Everyone just doesn't like doing it. Just doesn't like reading the poems.
Just sounds like being a politician. I mean, you don't know how it's like in election season. I mean, I guess that's why we're really good friends.
Yeah. Alright, here we go.
Wow, this is beautiful. So do I go this way?
Yeah, the entrance is this way. See, the problem with today's youth is that they just don't care anymore. They just don't want to think about things. They just don't want to experience life.
I know what you mean. I mean, today's youth... And do you know what percent of today's youth votes?
No.
18-year-olds, only 4%, less than 4% votes. That's just wrong, you know?
That is wrong.
It's just the youth is wasted on the young.
Oh, flower petal, sitting on the floor. Pasta strewn on all the rocks. I hate you. I hate you, flower petal. I hate you.
Did you just make that now?
Yeah, dude.
Dude, that was beautiful. Yeah.
Woo! Got it back.
All right, yeah. Dude, we're getting back. Get to the castle. Wow, that poem was truly great. I'm proud to call you my friend.
Thanks, Jack. I've been trying so hard lately. I just haven't been able to come up with
Physics!
Oh, who are you?
I'm Sonia.
And I come with a message. Mr. Toussaint, you guys need to learn about particle wave duality, or your country will go into ruins and your art will be destroyed.
But I'm a politician.
And I'm a poet.
Well, I'm just a physicist.
So, Sonia, I know we just met, but would you like to join us for brunch? We were just coming to get some.
Why not? Sure.
All right.
All right.
So, Sonia, do you vote?
No. Not worth the time.
I can't believe this. Intelligent people today not voting. Why would you not vote?
It's just not fun. Like, physics is fun, but voting isn't. You're all boring and you don't know what you're doing.
But
I agree. Physics is fun.
Really? You're supposed to be a poet.
Yeah, but you know, it's along the same lines. You have to think outside the box for both. You can't just have a straightforward approach.
I guess that's true.
Well, why don't you teach us a little bit about physics?
Okay, first off, I'm going to show you a video. We'll make everything I say after this be completely redundant, but it's worth it.
All right.
All right. You see, the problem with being a poet is you just don't know. You don't know how people are going to take your poem. You don't know how the critics are going to respond.
You know, it's the same with being a politician. You make this move, you make that move. How's the public going to react? It's all about risk. You know, you just don't know, though.
Speaking of risk and probabilities, the Young's and double slit experiment is a crazy thing with probabilities, and you don't know how it's going to be explained to people because it's crazy. It's quantum. Let's watch.
All right.
We now examine a phenomenon which is absolutely impossible to explain in any classical way, and which is at the very heart of quantum mechanics. The famous double-slit experiment. To understand this experiment, we first need to see how ordinary particles, or little balls of matter, act. If we shoot small objects such as marbles at a screen containing a single slit, we see a pattern form where they went through the slit and hit on the back wall. Now, if we add a second slit, we would expect to see two bands directly behind the slits. Now, let's look at waves. The waves hit the slit and radiate out, striking the back wall with the most intensity directly in line with the slit. The line of brightness on the back screen shows that intensity. This is similar to the line the marbles make. But when we add the second slit, something different happens. If the top of one wave meets the bottom of another wave, they cancel each other out. So now there is an interference pattern on the back wall. Places where the two tops meet are the highest intensity, the bright lines, and where they cancel, there is nothing. So when we shoot particles such as matter through two slits, we get this: two bands of hits. And with waves, we get an interference pattern of many bands. Good so far.
So it seems pretty easy so far. I mean, I don't know what there's really not to know. Like, you know?
Yeah, people make a big deal about quantum physics, but I don't see what's so hard.
Just you wait.
Let's go quantum. An electron is a tiny, tiny bit of matter, like a tiny marble. Let's fire a stream through one slit. It behaves just like the marbles, a single band. So, if we shoot these tiny particles through two slits, we should get, like the marbles, two bands. What? An interference pattern? We fired electrons. Tiny bits of matter through, but we get a pattern like waves, not like little marbles. How?
How? How could pieces of matter create an interference pattern like a wave? It just doesn't make sense.
Mindwalk. Physicists are clever. They thought maybe those little balls are bouncing off of each other and creating that pattern. So they decide to shoot electrons through one at a time. There is no way they could interfere with each other. But after an hour of this, the same interference pattern is seen to emerge. The conclusion is inescapable. The single electron leaves as a particle, becomes a wave of potentials, goes through both slits and interferes with itself to hit the wall like a particle.
Wait, so the electron bounces off of itself?
I don't get it, but if it's an electron, how does it, a single particle, how does it come split into two and bounce off itself? It just doesn't make sense.
Well, you're not thinking about it right. Like, Newtonian physics is the physics of exact, specific items.
So like the marble?
Yeah.
The marble, okay.
Like, but quantum physics is about possibilities. And so when we're throwing an electron, we're not really throwing like a single item, we're throwing like a probability distribution.
Oh, so I think I get it. We can't think of it as an everyday object.
Yeah, it can't just be like a marble.
Right? It's not just in one place at one time. It's about the probability that it's in a place.
So it can be, it's like the probability that it's in multiple places at once. So there's a chance that it goes through one slit.
And since there's a chance that it goes through both, it can bounce off each.
It can bounce, alright.
Alright, let's keep watching.
But mathematically, it's even stranger. It goes through both slits. And it goes through neither. And it goes through just one. And it goes through just the other. All of these possibilities are in superposition with each other. But physicists were completely baffled by this. So, they decided to peek and see which slit it actually goes through. They put a measuring device by one slit to see which one it went through and let it fly. Ha 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 ha! But the quantum world is far more mysterious than they could have imagined. When they observed, the electron went back to behaving like a little marble. It produced a pattern of two bands, not an interference pattern of many. the very act of measuring or observing which slit it went through meant it only went through one, not both. This led to many questions.
What does matter?
Yeah, is it the marbles or waves? I don't get it.
And waves of what?
Yeah. And what does an observer have to do with any of this, you know?
It's as if the electron decided to act differently, as though it was aware it was being watched.
It seems as if the observer somehow collapses the wave function just by observing.
Wow.
However, physicists eventually realized that any type of measuring device, no matter how small, always interacted with the electron, subsequently destroying the interference pattern. Werner Heisenberg proposed a new uncertainty principle describing this. The uncertainty principle can be stated in terms of our experiment as follows. It is impossible to design an apparatus to determine which slit the electron passes through that will not at the same time disturb the electron enough to collapse its wave function, destroying the interference pattern. And it was here that physicists stepped forever into the strange netherworld of quantum uncertainty.
So, I see the video, but
Yeah.
I just want to see it in real life, you know. So, if we drop these tennis balls down, and so there's a slit at the bottom, it'll go straight through the slit and hit the wall on the other side. Alright, let's get someone to go down there and make us a slit.
Young sir, could you just be a slit for us?
Can you go right down there? Good job volunteering. No, can you go down farther? And stand with your legs a little bit apart so that we have a slit. Okay, that is a lovely slit you have.
Alright, let's go.
See, so the tennis balls go through and they hit the wall on the other side. I get that. Alright.
Alright, it seems to be in the same line pattern that we have there. Right?
Alright, so I think I know how this works for solids and marbles and such, but I'd like to see how it would work with waves. Sir, can you throw a rock in the pond for us?
Why, certainly.
Alright, so you see that wave coming out? Alright. So if that were to hit a wall, I guess the biggest intensity would be at the high point of the wave. And it would get lower and lower as it radiated outwards.
It would hit, or if it just hit the shore, it would hit the hardest where it's closest.
Yeah. Alright. Now, sir, can you throw in two rocks?
But simultaneously.
At the same time, and we're going to see if they interact with each other. Alright, so as the tops of the waves hit each other, they add to each other. And when a top of a wave hits a bottom of a wave, they cancel out. So that'll mean on certain points of the shore, there'll be areas of high intensity next to lines of low intensity, right?
Yeah. If it was hitting a shore at equal distance, the closest point would have the strongest
bar of intensity.
And then there would be weaker ones radiating out.
Alright, so we've demonstrated the particles, the marbles, and we've demonstrated the waves with the rocks.
Yep.
So time to move on to electrons. So let's do that.
I think you still don't quite understand that that's quantum mechanics, and we don't have the technology to do it.
We're all poor. I mean, you're a poet. I'm a physicist.
I'm a politician, and you know I gotta spend all my money on advertising.
So there's no way we could shoot electrons or measure electrons. So we'll just have to take talking heads' advice and believe it.
I believe them. And that's yeah. Oh man, it's so beautiful out here. These trees and everything, and I'm gonna get pretty sad when we have to go. It's gonna get pretty Sappy. Like a tree? Like the sappy? Guys, come on.
Mindwalk.
So instead of thinking that an electron is like a marble, we have to think of it as a wave, or how do we think about an electron?
An electron, let's just use the tennis ball for example. This is our electron. We've been taught all our years in school that they're just little particles like this. But really, we know now that electrons aren't like other matter. They're all about probabilities of being in certain areas. So when an electron is, we see it like this and we observe it, it's here. But really, we know that it's all, could be anywhere in this orb, in this area. And that's a probability wave.
Alright. We've been learning a lot about waves.
Definitely.
Well, I've brought you to this torture chamber that has been in this castle for a long time.
Man, well, it looks like this torture chamber is having a torturous effect on me not being tired. I think I'm going to sit down here.
Well, I've learned quite a lot from this experiment.
Yeah, me too.
What did physicists actually learn from it?
Well, we're basically going back to the idea of wave and particle duality. Like, we know that particles are particles,
Yeah.
but now we're learning that they're waves. Like, we knew that light is a wave, but we also learned that it was acted like particles known as photons. Albert Einstein actually discovered this, and the trick was that if you take two charged plates like a capacitor and shine UV light, it causes the electrons to jump off and complete the circuit and have a current running through, which is pretty cool because it means that there's energy and momentum in a light wave.
Alright, so I get that quantum particles have, what was it,
Particle duality.
wave-particle duality.
So they can act like both waves and particles.
Okay, but how does that relate to the real world?
Well, I think... Oh, I get it. Electrons and quantum particles make up everything that is matter. We're made up of electrons. So, they talked about superposition in the video. What does that mean?
Well, in the quantum world of microscopic observations, there are two types of realities. One is the actual, and that's the type we can like physically observe, and the other one is potential, and that's like the probabilities. And so when we're not observing it, we can imagine an electron to be in multiple places, so it can go through the multiple slits, or no slits, or both, or only one slit.
So, but actually observing it changes the reality. Changes how it acts.
Sort of, because we can't really observe it that well.
Well, this looks like a pretty nice day outside, so being in this torture room, it's a bit torturous. Still not funny?
No.
Alright.
I mean,
so, Sonia, I understand that theoretically, I understand superposition theoretically, but how can we really prove it, you know?
well, there's this thing called quantum tunneling, where we can actually take advantage of the potential distributions to shoot electrons through barriers that, in a Newtonian sense, would be impenetrable, but since in their distributions they can actually pass through, and there's a finite amount of the electron on the other side, which is pretty crazy.
Sounds pretty crazy. So if this ball in Newtonian mechanics is thrown against the wall, it can't go through. It just bounces back. But if this were a particle, a quantum particle, when it gets hit against the wall, because of superposition and probability, some of it is actually passing through the ball. Right?
Yeah, and that's how diodes work.
Wow. Physics.
Mindwalk.
There is a place where the sidewalk ends, and before the street begins. And there the grass grows soft and white, and there the sun burns crimson bright. And there the moonbird rests from his flight, to cool in the peppermint wind. Let us leave this place where the smoke blows black, and the dark street winds and bends. Past the pits where the asphalt flowers grow, we shall walk with a walk that is measured and slow. And watch where the chalk-white arrows go, to the place where the sidewalk ends. Yes, we'll walk with a walk that is measured and slow, and we'll go where the chalk-white arrows go. For the children, they mark, and the children, they know, the place where the sidewalk ends. Shel Silverstein. Shel Silverstein! Water? What a day! What a day!
If you actually want to know about this, like, understand it, you should pick up The Elegant Universe by Brian Greene.
But don't take my word for it. Ba-dum-bum.
Mindwalk. Mindwalk.
That's wave particle duality.